Hey guys, I got a brand new video for you today, and the nice people over at Zhiyun Tech sent me the Smooth 2 smartphone gimbal to review for you guys. And basically they just said to give an honest review, and that's what I'm going to do. So let's roll the 15-second unboxing. Balancing the phone is pretty straightforward. You just put it into the spring-loaded clamp and adjust the horizontal position by sliding it back and forth. And to adjust the roll, you slide it up and down using this tightening adjustment knob. Once it's balanced, it'll stay perfectly where you put it. Now this does come with a counterweight to screw into the end if you have a heavier phone. So something like the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, I need to use this counterweight in order to balance it properly. And once you screw it in, you can just pretty much balance your phone, and wherever you put it, it'll stay. Now to turn the gimbal on, you just hold down the power button until this stops flashing, and then you'll see the gimbal engage. Next, you need to download and open up the app that comes with the gimbal and go to the Bluetooth settings in the top right and then click on Smooth 2 once it shows up in the list, and then it'll connect pretty quickly. And to initiate record, all you have to do is push in on the power button once and you'll see it start recording. Going through the modes now, you can double click on the center joystick and that'll put it into a follow mode. A single click will put it into like a lock crane mode. And a triple click will actually flip the camera around into like a selfie mode where you can use the rear camera. Another cool feature is the joystick. You can use it to do panning and tilting. So mounting this to a tripod and just using the joystick, you get some really smooth shots. So moving the side toggle up or down will actually zoom in or zoom out digitally, and if you hold it upwards, it'll switch from the rear camera to the front, and if you hold it downwards, it'll actually switch from photo to video mode. And lastly, going to the settings, you can upgrade the Bluetooth firmware or the firmware of the gimbal, as well as change your camera settings. And here you can change your photo resolution or video resolution. You can see the available frame rates here, as well as you can actually change the ISO and white balance and video stabilization and stuff like that. Alright, so now you've seen how to set it up and balance it and how it works with the app. I just kind of want to talk about my initial experience with this thing. The first time I got my phone into it, the Bluetooth synced right inside the app, which is awesome. I think that if Bluetooth is going to be an industry standard, that it should probably work like that. I have a feeling it wasn't that easy with the DJI Osmo Mobile, so it's pretty awesome that it worked right out of the box like that and I didn't have any issues. Also with balancing the phone, it seemed that pretty much any phone I put on it balanced without any issues. I didn't need to do any calibration. I just had to make sure that when I put a bigger phone on this that I used the counterweight on the end. Some things that I like about this gimbal, right off the bat I noticed that you could actually charge this thing with the USB cable while it's running, so if it starts to get low on power you could still use it with like a battery bank or something like that. Talking about the feel and build quality of this thing, it's top notch, it's machined aluminum, the fit and finish is perfect, there's no weird seams or gaps, and it feels solid in the hand, and it actually fits your hand really nice. I would say that it almost fits your hand nicer than the DJI Osmo Mobile, and that thing has a much larger grip for your hand, but the fact that this is smaller, it kind of just makes the overall package seem smaller. The gimbal shouldn't have a hard time balancing pretty much any phone. I've tried the Pixel XL in it, which is a pretty big phone. Right now I have the Galaxy S7 Edge, and then I also tried it with my iPhone 7, and like I said before, I didn't really have any problems balancing. It pretty much balances right out of the box, but they do have software that you can download if you need to calibrate this thing, and something that I've never had to do yet with 3 different phones. So unless maybe you have a big case on it or something like that, maybe you need to calibrate it, but at least you can still do that if you have to. Anyway, I brought this gimbal with me to a couple video shoots just to use as a behind the scenes camera, and I shot some stuff and then I handed it off to random people there to use, and you know, it's pretty fun to use if someone's never used it before, and it's actually pretty easy to use, and you know, you can see some clips here of just different behind the scenes stuff, and that's kind of the reason why I bought the DJI Osmo Mobile in the first place, because I wanted to use it for that. And I would say that this is actually just as good as that, except this might even be easier to set up and use. Alright, so let's take a look at some real samples. I use this on a job shooting a promo video for a drywaller, and let's roll the clip right now. All right, so there's no denying that this gimbal is awesome, and if you get some practice with it, you can get some really awesome results. But there's a few things that I don't really like about it, and I want to get into those right now. So first off, it comes down to the app and its software limitations. There's no actual way to change the frame rate to 24 frames per second, which is usually what I like shooting in to give you that more cinematic look. But you can shoot at 24 frames per second if you use a different app. But I want to talk about the main app that is made for this gimbal. Another thing I noticed is that with the Galaxy S7 Edge, for some reason in the settings, there was no way to change to 4K video. I could only shoot at a maximum of 1080p, which is weird because this phone can shoot at 4K. Then when I hooked up the iPhone to it, I could shoot in 4K with it, so I was like, that's kind of weird. I guess the Android app doesn't allow you to do 4K. And that's the whole reason why I picked up this busted up Galaxy S7 Edge. If you're wondering why the screen's all cracked, it's because I got it super cheap, and I wanted to get it so that I could use it with this gimbal, so I could give you guys kind of a different comparison between the iPhone and to the Android system. So it's actually good that I tried my friend's Google Pixel in the gimbal, because it did allow me to shoot 4K with it. So it's not the Android app, just for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's my phone or what, but I couldn't shoot 4K video through that app on this gimbal. There's no motion time-lapse feature, which is pretty awesome with the DJI mobile app. I didn't even really like that app, but the fact that it had that option was pretty cool. So you can't do motion time-lapse with this yet. They may add it to the app. I have a feeling they could. The technology's there. You know, there's no reason why it couldn't. The next cool thing that this has is face tracking. For some reason, it would not work for me using the iPhone, but it did slightly work with the Galaxy S7 Edge. It did not track my face the same way that the DJI Osmo Mobile would track, and I think that the technology for them is there a little bit more advanced than for these guys, but I think they're on their way and they will perfect it eventually. So while the gimbal feels really nice and is built really well, I feel like the tension on the spring that holds the phone down is kind of tight, and pulling your phone out of it kind of makes you feel uneasy, like you're going to scratch your phone. I kind of feel like if they had more of like a clamp system where you could manually lock it down yourself, that you'd feel a little bit more safer. It's not that the tension of the spring wouldn't hold your phone in. That's kind of why it's so risky when you're trying to take your phone out, because there's so much pressure pulling down on it. And lastly, I just want to talk about the joystick. I feel like it could be a little bit tighter so that you would have a little bit less travel when you have to move it. And then that way you could get a lot smoother panning shots. But it's not bad. All right, so enough about the negatives. Let's talk about the positives. So I really love this gimbal. It's easy to set up. It syncs nice through Bluetooth. The fit and finish is amazing. The build quality is awesome. You can actually do 360 with this, which is something that you can't do with the DJI Osmo. And because you can flip it around 360, you can actually use it as a vlogging camera using the back camera instead of having to use the front camera. And it's pretty sweet that you can do that. Now you've probably heard me compare it to the DJI Osmo Mobile because it's in the same class and I've already used it, so I kind of know from experience what that gimbal's like versus this gimbal, and you can pretty much get the exact same smooth shots with this as you can with the DJI Osmo. But the one thing I want to talk about that is going to probably offend a lot of iPhone 7 users, I would not recommend the iPhone 7 using this gimbal or even the DJI Osmo. There is an option to turn off the video stabilization, but it actually doesn't kill the image stabilization built into the phone. So you still get those weird random micro shakes that I talked about in the DJI Osmo review, and that's why I wouldn't recommend that phone, and that's why I actually shot the drywall video with the Galaxy S7 Edge, because it doesn't have that. The gimbal has really awesome battery life. It has between 5 to 6 hours, and there's actually one stage where I didn't charge it for a whole week and I used it on and off every single day, and I have no idea what the battery was like, but it lasted that long. And one last thing I really like about this gimbal is the fact that the tripod mounts on the bottom, and that way you can mount a tripod base plate and just click it into your tripod, and you basically can just take it in and out of the tripod without having to screw it in every time. And I really like the fact that it's on the bottom and not on the side. All in all, guys, I think that this gimbal is actually pretty awesome. I didn't know what to expect when they were going to send it to me. I just assumed that it was going to be not that great and not even close to what the DJI Osmo Mobile is like. And this thing's a little bit cheaper than that. You do lose a few of the app functions that you get with DJI, but what you miss in the app, you get in quality and just the ease of use of this gimbal. You're definitely going to get nice smooth footage with this thing, and that's all that really matters at the end of the day, and you can get some really professional results. You've seen my samples that I've done with it, and I could almost get away with doing this for paid jobs again. I'm not sure if it would be super professional stuff, but you know, little things for Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, it's perfect. Anyway, guys, if you're looking for one of these, check the link in the description. You can get one of them, and yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked this video, give it a thumbs down twice, and I'll see you in the next one.